Alright y'all, so today I'm going to be talking about fighting shotguns. Now, there are a lot of misconceptions surrounding this, so here I'm going to possibly dissuade some of this bullshit and get down to the heart of the subject. So the gun you're looking at right now is my new to me Remington Model 1100 Bicentennial Skeet gun, and the barrel are matched, which is kind of an oddity, being that the barrels are very interchangeable with these guns, and it's not uncommon to get a 1100 used with a different barrel that has a different serial number. So let's crack this. Nothing in the chamber. See nothing in the magazine tube. Just close this. You press this button to close the action. See nothing in the tube. So that's unloaded. And I don't care if it's alright or not to snap shotguns. I snap shotguns. But this, it doesn't have a tactical stock. It doesn't have a pistol grip. It doesn't have synthetic. It isn't camo. It isn't high capacity. It's just 4+1. Yet I consider it to be a perfectly fine choice for a fighting shotgun. Safety is actually left-handed, but I'm gonna swap this out. The person that sold me this gun is a good friend of mine, and he has several 1100s, and he's got one of the left-handed or the right-handed safeties. So when I'm shooting this is my trigger hand. This hand goes here. I've got my finger wrapped around. Yes, I know finger in the trigger guard, but this is unloaded, and if a round were to discharge, it would be in a safe direction, and it would just blow off a chunk of my house and go off into the country. So, you know, that's right there. It's easy to hit safe like that and not be able to fire the gun. You have to reach around, and with that you can accidentally pull the trigger, but I've never found that to be an issue. So that I would consider to be a perfectly acceptable choice for a fighting shotgun. Now, for a shotgun to be a fighting shotgun, there are several points of interest I must have in it. 1, it's got to be reliable. 2, the user has to know how to operate it. That's it. Nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary. Sorry, I got a cold right now. So it's got to be reliable, and the user's got to know how to operate it. Seems pretty simple, right? Well, a shotgun is the kind of weapon that puts out so much energy that, you know, you aren't going to need an extremely high rate of fire. You're not going to, it's not like a .22 where you're going to need, say, a 50-round drum. I would say if you wanted to have a Ruger 1022 for home defense, be my guest. But it all comes down to your personal limits on what you would consider to be a defensive or fighting shotgun. Now that we've looked at semi-autos, I would like to address pump action or slide action shotguns. So action is operated by pulling this back. Action opens, you pull it forward. This little thing comes up, lifts a shell from the tube, slides forward, click, and then you pull the trigger. Round goes off, and to fire the next shot you just repeat that action. And pump action shotguns, as you'll see in this next clip, can be very, very, very fast. And even though it's a 20 gauge, it can handle 3-inch. It's marked proof tested 20 gauge 3-inch chamber, modified choke. And you'll see that even with high recoil loads like 20 gauge 3-inch, and this is a relatively light gun, it can still you can still shoot off rounds very, very quickly with this thing and be very, very deadly with it.
Levi, what is that? Is that a single shot?
Why, yes it is, my friends. So, it is a 16 gauge single shot, and I outfitted it with a rear sight, just dovetailed it in. Use it for shooting slugs or any other load, you know, buckshot, cut shells, whatever. Got notch on there for each kill. These straight up ones are gophers, and this is a rabbit that I killed. And this is not even counting the ones the previous owner had, but a 16 gauge is actually a pretty great gauge. Can handle number 4 buck a lot better than a 20 gauge can. Some 20 gauges will shoot number 4 buck, alright. Some won't. But 16 gauges for the most part will shoot number 4 buck. I haven't found one that won't. And by shoot it, I mean accurately and effectively pattern. So, single shots. I know you're saying, oh, well, this single shot, that's very, very slow, Levi. Oh, you know, you're going to be in deep shit if someone breaks into your house. Well, this wouldn't be my first choice, but it is both reliable, and I know how to operate a shotgun single shot very quickly. I have shot wobble trap where you get 2 shots for each bird, and if you miss it on the first shot, you take a second shot. Well, I've actually taken this gun out to wobble trap, fired my first shot, missed, unloaded the shell, thrown a new one in the chamber, closed the gun, cocked the hammer, and fired and hit that second bird. So single shots are not that slow, and this is by far one of my favorite shotguns. This was the first shotgun I ever had. 16 gauge. I reload for 16 gauge. Very, very nice little Farwell Arms shotgun. I believe this was made by Hopkins and Allen, or maybe Crescent Arms, but this is just one of my older shotguns, and very attractive, very nice trigger pull. But you know, you can load and fire a shotgun, even a single shot, very, very quickly if you practice. Now here's where it gets iffy. Levi, a 410? Is that a 410 or some kind of rifle? I don't see any rifling. It is a 410, 3-inch chamber, Rossi. This started life as a Rossi trap shotgun with a 28-inch barrel, but I outfitted it with this Rossi matched pair barrel that I put on there. I dovetailed rifle sights into the barrel, cut it off so it's a slug gun. Now I know what you're thinking. 410, really, Levi? That is the weakest, smallest gauge you can get. Well, let me tell you something. A load of, 3, 4, 5 buckshot pellets from a 2 3/4 or 3-inch shell, I think they make 5 pellet loads, is going to put a world of hurt on any attacker, 2-legged, 4-legged, or no legs, whether it's like a snake or vermin or anything. And the 410 slug, well, check this out. So here's my piece of steel. This was actually part of an old car. My daddy gave it to me to shoot up, because he knows I like shooting steel. I painted it zombie green. Yesterday I went out to the trap club, no one was there, and I used the rifle range. Well, look at those craters. Seems like a lot of energy. That would kill a deer. That would kill a human. You put your bullet right between the eyes, that will no doubt kill them. This thing is bent now from repeated strikes from those bullets. On the back you've got a protrusion like Tiger Woods' pants. Look at that shit. And I tried to clean it off with some birdshot. There was a bunch of grease on this side, being it was a car part. But I also peppered it with some steel shot from 25 yards to see what it would do, and it put little tiny dents and little tiny craters in it. And I always wondered what steel shot would do to a steel target, but under controlled conditions. That was actually a pretty interesting experiment. So those craters are actually very similar to to what a 357 Magnum would do. I have shot this kind of steel. It appears to be hot rolled steel with a 357 Magnum before, and it did create something that looks much like this, a little bit shallower, but that is very, very deadly. And I can load these slugs hotter. I can load them up to maybe 41 Magnum. So 410 slug gun, you hit someone with that, unless they're really hopped up on drugs, the chances are they're going to go down. I believe it was Wyatt Earp that used a 36 caliber Colt cap and ball, and he said that the quickest way to put a man down was a shot to the gut with a 36 caliber ball. And that's no better than a 32 ACP from what I've read. Maybe a little bit hotter, like 38 Smith & Wesson maybe. So not even 200 foot-pounds. And this is putting out, from my chronograph results, over 500 foot-pounds. So look at that. I mean, that's a perfect little short gun. A little kid could use this. The recoil is not that bad. It's like a little less than a 30-30. In fact, I can actually fill the stock with shot and put some lead plugs in the stock and make it even lighter recoil. Make the gun a little bit heavier, but a little girl could shoot this. So let's sum things up. Even the smallest of gauges, or calibers in this case, the 410 is actually a caliber. If it were a gauge, it would be 63 gauge or something like that. But I digress. So let's get back on topic here. Even 410 can make a defensive shotgun with slugs or buckshot at close range. And most home defense shootings happen from here to that wall. I don't know if you can see that. That's about 15-20 feet is the max distance, so a little bit further than that. So let's sum it up. Fighting shotgun has to be reliable, and it has to be something that you know how to shoot and you can shoot well. So that being said, pick your shotgun carefully, practice with it, and you should have a firearm that will serve you well, put food on the table, and protect you. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, and God bless America. Keep your lips packed, your guns loaded, and your trucks full of gas. Bye-bye now.